Here ringside, let's get back to it right now. December 7th, 1970, the 15th round, Ali Bonavena.
Last scheduled round, round 15. If Ali gets the decision, it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say in ring center after the bout. He showed signs of becoming the old Clay in the past week, with the prediction, with the rhyme. Well, you saw Oscar at his wildest there, missing, falling off balance, but there was no Ali to take advantage of. There was no speed left, there was no movement left. Jump in and take advantage of an off-balance, unprotected man. We're a minute and 15 seconds into the final round. .130 left in the fight. Oh, that left floored him. It came from nowhere. Ali came through with a left. The crowd screaming. The first knockdown of the fight. He took the mandatory 8. And now Ali is behaving like the old Ali. One more knockdown in this round. The fight is automatically over. Bonavena is running. If he goes down again, it's over. Ali is the knockout winner at 2 minutes and 3 seconds by my unofficial clock of the final round. It began with a left. I'm going up to ring center.
All right. Well, just as well that, that's a terrible job of refereeing. Not that it matters now to anybody,
Was there a neutral corner there?
Geez, it's like old days standing over a guy.
Job.
He just pushed the referee out of the way. Just perfect.
Hey, still in all, I mean, Angelo, Bonavena was going for it. I got to give him credit. He was going for it. But talk about that's a beautiful counter hook that Ali.
Well, that's what he ran into the shot. You know what I mean? The perfect timing. The guy threw a hook himself, and he got nailed with a counter hook.
Angie, he's not a left hook artist, Muhammad Ali. I mean, all those years, and yet he threw the perfect one here.
And usually Ali would turn his hand while he was throwing the hook, so he didn't get the full power behind it, unlike, say, Basilio. Look at this. This was right on. But there's Ali. Think he went to a neutral corner? I mean, you could have dropped breadcrumbs. You wouldn't have followed him.
Well, they didn't put that rule until after the fight.
Well, it was either that or the Dempsey fight. I'm not sure which it was, wasn't it?
And then he stands over him like Liston. Right there. He gets up, boom, pushes the referee out of the way.
He was saying, stay down. That's what he said.
Angelo, what did you say to Muhammad after this fight?
Nothing. I just, we got to keep working, that's all. He said, don't worry, I'll be back in the gym. He was the best gymnasium. He always got back. He loved the gym.
Did you know you were going to Frazier right away? Did you think maybe I'd take another fight, then go to Frazier, or do you know that was happening next?
No, I thought that they wanted the Frazier fight.
Okay.
Right.
You were already in discussion, or not you, but the camp.
Yeah, Herbert was talking about.
So it was already under discussion.
And even on his telecast, Yank Durham actually was on with Howard Cosell, the manager of Joe Frazier, and he said flat out, he said, we want that fight. It's a fight that should be made. It was actually refreshing to hear that and to know that your camp was going to make that fight.
Do you think that fight impressed people about Ali's comeback on the Ali side?
I think so. I think knocking out the guy impressed people. Because the final result is always one that sticks in your mind.
You're right, but now watching it again reflectively, it wasn't that outside of the 15th round and the left hook that impressive a performance, was it, in your mind's eye?
Well, I think they both weren't fainting out of position. I mean, they're both throwing shots, so it wasn't one of those hey, man, I'll hit you, wait a minute. It was a good fight.
All right, let's listen in Muhammad Ali right after this fight, and in fact, with Howard Cosell and getting Joe Frazier on the phone. Let's listen in.
You found Bonavena much tougher than you expected, obviously, didn't you?
The layoff bothered me. It showed up. I missed a lot of punches. But I'm glad it went 15. The word was I didn't have no stamina. I think I showed more than he did. And Joe Frazier couldn't stop him. He was really out. And now we have a chance to see who the real champion of the world is. Joe Frazier's on the telephone, and Howard Cosell's agitating as usual.
Hold on a second, Joe. I'm going to put Muhammad on. Now on the telephone, you repeat what Joe says to you.
How you doing, Joe? You're not frightened of me, are you?
What's he saying, Muhammad?
Howard Cosell is agitating as usual. I think you'd improved yourself as a professional fighter. I'd improved myself, so I'll get me a couple of days rest. And since we can't get a loan, we just gonna have to get it on.
This is, I love the technology of the day, Al. What are your thoughts on that? As you know, here we got him on the phone, talk to him because let's set up this fight. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it also speaks to how different the times were then. You know, not just in terms of the technology, but in terms of the fact that it was the appropriate fight. And Ali and Frazier, and this is something you guys, of course, can speak to, had dialogue with each other, even when he was during his respite from boxing, when he was away from the sport. It wasn't as Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali were these guys that didn't have interaction with each other.
You know what this shows just very quickly is Ali might be back in his boxing skills. He's not yet back in his mouth skills.
I don't know. He's pretty good there.
No, it really he hasn't.
Doing all right.
He hasn't hit his level yet.
Angelo, what are your thoughts on Joe Frazier now as the showdown is on?
Well, Joe Frazier was one of a kind. I mean, bing, 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 let shots go. Very much better fighter than anybody made him. Just wasn't a club fighter. He was slick, you give you movement, and he was a busy guy.
So what was your level of concern as far as what was going to happen?
Well, the level of concern was not to let the guy get you against the ropes. You know, stay away from the ropes. Because you keep him turning, you keep him in the middle. That was my game plan. Keep him in the middle. Keep him turning.
Did you think at that point that Frazier was someone special, elevated above the rest of that division?
Yes, I used to watch him all the time.
Right.
In fact, I tried to get a fight with Jag Durham, see how slick he was. I had a big fighter named Al Jones, southpaw. He said, Angelo, I like you very much. You're from Philly. But get all the southpaws, put them on an island, and pull the plug. So I couldn't get the fight.
And you had faced him with Jimmy Ellis, too. And, of course, that was a very tough fight.
God.
And Frazier knocked out Ellis.
You know why I stopped the fight? You know why I stopped the fight? I come back to the corner and I says, how's it feel getting knocked down a couple times? He said, was I knocked down? I said, it's over.
He didn't remember.
All right, yeah. We're going to take a break. We'll have much more on the career of Muhammad Ali when we come back ringside.
Should be donated to the Bureau of Wildlife.
You a one-sided guy. You talk from two sides of your mouth. One to the white and one to the black. Wise guy, that's what you do.
Sit down, Joe.
Why you think I'm making?
Sit down, Joe.
Huh?
Sit down quick.
Why you think I'm making?
The brothers are here.
Doing this too?
No. Sit down quick, Joe.
Well, we're having a scene, as you can see, and it's hard to tell whether it's clowning or for real between the two fighters. Joe Frazier is really angry. Muhammad called him ignorant, and he's really angry. I don't think this one is clowning at all. It's a bad and an ugly scene, and it's unfortunate, I think, that it's happened in the middle of showing a classic fight between two extraordinary athletes. I think that Ali is probably clowning, but there is no question in my mind that Joe Frazier is not clowning.
All right, yeah, they weren't clowning. The animosity was real. Dave, was there a time, you know, we hear about these things where there was respect between the two and where they got together and Frazier helped out Ali? Was there a time where
in the beginning,
got
yes, and before the first fight in the Garden this 1971 fight, yes.
How wary were they of each other, though, given their
there was
circumstances?
always that tension, always that little, you know, the spark that you thought might blow up any minute. Mm-hmm. And it, as we saw, it did blow up in about a few days before the second fight in Madison Square Garden.
Pete, how bad was it between the two?
Well, it was ugly in the sense that there was race underneath it. You know, that Ali was making fun of Joe in almost racist terms. And that's what had Joe furious. You know, when you called him ignorant, it was part of a stereotype that he didn't like. And I think that was underneath the thing, seething away there somewhere.
But what was also seething was that before the first fight, Joe went out of his way to help promote the fight for Ali. He was very nice to Ali when Ali came to Philadelphia. And then to have Ali turn on him, so to speak, really, that's what really triggered it.
All right, let's take a look right now. Again, Muhammad Ali would go to Philadelphia and dog Joe Frazier in his own hometown just 2.5 weeks before the fight.
Joe had heard Ali over the radio call him ugly, a coward, and Uncle Tom. He was so shocked and stunned by it because he had just been talking about how Ali could do anything he wanted to in the ring, and what a great fighter he was, that he threw down the radio and crushed it with his foot. So somehow they managed to join together over at this PAL gym.
We heard over the police radio that there was a group of people marching down Columbia Avenue, and Clay was there, and there was going to be a fight, there was going to be an altercation. I went over to the gym, and Clay did have Joe going.
And Joe goes to the window of his gym and just puts his fists and glares out the glass.
Joe wanted to pick a tire iron up, and he wanted to straighten it out right there.
Traffic stops on Broad Street in Philadelphia. People are out their cars. TV crews are now outside. All kind of things are happening here, and it's getting out of hand.
So the cop there told him to take it outside. And that's when the parade started to Fairmount Park, and Ali went along and went through his histrionics. In a street fight like that, Joe would have destroyed him utterly.
I don't know what they were really thinking. I guess they thought they were gonna really see Ali and Frazier maybe get to scuffling or tussling or something.
Bert, we'd seen this type of tactic before with Ali against Sonny Liston. What was the effect against Joe Frazier?
Well, Ali was always doing this. He thought it was hyping a fight. He had names for his opponents. They were the Acorn or the Washerwoman or the Mummy. Joe took it personally. I mean, I once was with him and he was going, he'd call me an Uncle Tom. My skin's blacker than his. I mean, he was taking everything personally. Mm-hmm. Ali was just going blithely on his way. Yes, he may know he had hurt him, but I don't think it really sunk in on Ali the way Joe felt. Joe really felt about this man, and still does to this day, by the by.
Right.
That he had degraded him. I mean, calling him ignorant and a gorilla is not a big help in sealing and cementing a friendship.
And where you have, of course, a champion of civil rights in Muhammad Ali, and you have Joe Frazier unwittingly cast as the white man's champion, which, you know, has nothing to do with him, and yet, Pete, there he is in that situation, kind of a no-win situation.
I think the other factor there was that the Philadelphia gym world is one of the most macho in the world. I mean, they have wars in those Philadelphia gyms. You see a kid with 20 fights, he looks like Billy McNeese. I mean, he's got cauliflowered ears and scar tissue all over his face, because it's very, very macho. And Joe was part of that. So he wasn't going to laugh and say, oh, that's just Ali. He took it personally.
This was before Rocky, don't forget.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Long before. But there was a phrase in boxing, I think it's kind of drifted away, but the phrase, as Pete mentioned, was the Philadelphia fighter.
Yeah.
Philadelphia fighters was like a guerrilla in Vietnam or whatever. I mean, they were tough fighters.
There was always the thesis that a lot of them left their fight in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I mean, they just beat the bejabbers out of each other.
Yeah.
Dave, how closely was it tied? Did they? Was there any insulation from what was happening in the late 60s, early 70s, or did it feel that closely tied to the establishment versus the champion of civil rights?
Well, I think after most of that was before the first fight, because it was really a morality play. You had Ali. A lot of people forget Ali is so popular today, but in 1971 he was not the most popular guy. He had refused to fight in Vietnam or go into the army, and he was not a popular guy. First of all, he was black. Second of all, he was a braggart, and then he refused to fight, and so almost anybody had some reason to dislike him.
And also they made Joe Frazier the unwitting symbol of the establishment of the hard hats. So basically they were both representing sides in the Vietnamese conflict.
Right.
As for the fight itself, Pete, you know, you watch this fight, watch all three, and to me what stands out is while Ali is not the same, they're still young. The action is crisp and fast. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Well, the fight at the Garden, which was an amazing night, the event was better than the fight. It was an extraordinary outpouring of everybody from Frank Sinatra to movie stars to...
Hubert Humphrey was up in the third deck. The former vice president couldn't get a seat.
Yeah, it was an electric night in New York. The fight was not as good as that, and Ali was not fully all the way back. He had his fight with Quarry, I think,
in Bonavina.
Right, in Bonavina, yeah. But he wasn't yet the fighter he was before the 3-year layoff. And he still wasn't the fighter in the fight.
To Peter's point.
It was a tough fight.
To Peter's point, I remember that night because many of the patrons were in floor-length white sable coat with matching hats, and those were the men. The women were in hot pants.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Well, the Quarry fight in Atlanta.
The Quarry fight was the first pimp fight.
Yeah,
it really
the
was.
Superfly night.
Yeah,
Really?
that was the first pimp fight.
What was the scene like for you, Dave, at the Garden that night?
Well, as Pete mentioned, it was a spectacle. I mean, this was a maybe when you think about it, Pete, and you look back and you look at things since then, it may have been the greatest night in New York ever.
Yeah,
really,
it was certainly right up there.
I mean, it was bigger than any theater.
Yeah,
it was sensational, and because it had all the elements, and if Joe Frazier won that fight, you know, by a mile. I always thought. Not when
what do you think, Bert?
I've
heard different things on that. Exactly.
I thought Frazier won.
Yeah.
I thought he cemented it with that knockdown in the 15th round.
When he got knocked down, his head was like, if I was sitting here, his head was 3 feet from me. He came right back to me. He looked like a tree coming down.
Came down hard.
And yet the one thing is,
and he got up as fast as
he
you
went
could get
down
up.
with his eyes spinning, almost like pinballs. And the minute his rump hit the canvas,
he was practically bouncing up.
He was up.
Okay, we'll take a timeout. Later this hour, see Ali's Rumble in the Jungle against Big George Foreman with bonus archives.
People have broke his jaw, knocked him out. One guy knocked his leg so far up in the air, I thought he was going to take off. And he got up and started talking. So there's no way I'm going to be able to stop him from talking.
Plus, Ali trainer Angelo Dundee will break down Ali's rope-a-dope tactics that helped slay Foreman in Zaire. Keep it here on Ringside. Return from Exile, a Muhammad Ali marathon on ESPN Classic.
We went to a psychiatrist who studied you, psychologist. He says you're a great showman, but he says inside, actually, one of the main reasons that you are constantly, you know, aware of the fact that you have great confidence, saying that you're going to win, is because you're trying to instill in yourself the confidence that you can win. You follow what I say?
And what do you? That I must be an expert because everything that I've said for the past 10 years has come true. And I don't think it's luck or it's just trying to build up confidence within myself. And if it is, then I would say I'm more of a prophet than he is.
So you're not trying to psych yourself?
Psych myself. I'm the best fighter that ever lived. Can't you see my face? You see the scratches? I'm not talking. I've been in this game 18 years, fella. 2-time United States Golden Club champion. Tell that psychiatrist, I'm 2-time national AAU champion, world Olympic gold medal winner, 12 world heavyweight title fights. Tell him I was off for 4 years and had a 6-week notice and came back and defeated Jerry Quarry and Oscar Bonavino quicker and easier than Joe Frazier without a scratch.
You got to tweak him a little bit, and
I think
he
the
gets going.
mouth that roared is roaring back.
Yes, he is. All right, now we're going to pick things up here where after the fight. And what happens, Angelo, after the fight? What is it like with Ali trying to get back and win the heavyweight title, going through Ken Norton, going through Jimmy Ellis, these fights?
Get back to the gym. That's what he wanted to do, get back and work.
Well, now he goes on another tour, wins the NABF, whatever in the dickens that is, championship. But he fights Ken Norton and gets his jaw broken. What happened in that fight?
He got hit on it. Broke his jaw in the first round.
Yes.
No, and Howard Cosell says, Ange, what's going on? I said, his gum is bleeding. It was a broken jaw.
How did you know that? You
I
knew it
told him,
immediately?
I could see it. Dark blood, you know, it ain't like a nosebleed. So I told Muhammad, I think I'm better stop this fight. He said, you ain't gonna stop no fight. I ain't go 10 rounds with this guy. I ain't. So he went, he fought the whole night.
Everybody has fighters that give a fighter trouble. Kenny Norton was, in fact, that fighter.
Yes.
For Ali, he had the jab. He had a certain style that made it very tough for Ali, didn't it?
Yes. Knocked all his timing off. I used to call him Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah, that's good.
And he's a big guy. He's big. He's bigger than Muhammad.
Well, did you see him in Mandingo? He looks like a torso that more
good defense,
a torso that's more so.
He was smart as he can be.
Yeah,
I got that.
Yeah, they didn't get it. Yeah, I stole it from Groucho Marx.
You know what? You worked too hip for the room on that one.
It comes from Lydia the Tattooed Lady.
Ken Norton. Yeah. But Muhammad didn't know the guy. He figured, what the heck? Well, easy. We get to town. The guy who was the promoter was looking to run for a political job or something. Took him to every stinking nightclub, every bar. You know, Muhammad, I'm just trying to sell the fight. Muhammad, you got to work. You got to train. This guy can fight. He's a good, strong guy.
When you let Kenny Norton come forward, he is a tremendous fighter. If you force him to go backwards, like Foreman did, knocking him out in 2 rounds, he's not the same fighter. With Ali going backwards, which he does
made him look that much better.
He made him the fight.
And also Kenny Norton has that overhand right that he could land against Ali. He threw it in a way that he could land that punch.
Now, they go into a second fight. There's a rematch after the loss in the first fight, only a second loss. And it is again close, and Ali must win the 12th round.
Yes.
To win a split decision.
Is that the one in Yankee Stadium?
No, that's the third fight.
The third fight.
Second fight.
This is the second fight out in California.
Right, California.
If he doesn't win that 12th round,
yeah, we're in trouble.
He doesn't win, and he doesn't get the fight with Foreman.
Right. True. I
mean, that was pivotal in the career of Muhammad Ali.
And think about this. Muhammad Ali had to go through, 14 fights and several years to get back to a chance at the heavyweight title. Here's a guy who's arguably one of the most famous athletes of all time, even at that point. And to get back to that heavyweight title was quite an arduous journey.
And now in those 14 fights, he does have a second fight with Frazier.
Yes.
But something has happened to Frazier on his way to this fight. You know, a funny thing happened called, what, George Foreman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and when you got Frazier for that second fight, were you aware of where he had slipped back to, even though the second fight did turn out to be still very competitive? Were you guys thinking you got a lesser Joe Frazier, or was it just that George Foreman had the style to beat Frazier?
Yes, that's what it was. I was in Jamaica, and I knew he was going to. They were concerned about a referee. I said, what are you worried about? Somebody's going to get knocked out. You know, and they finally agreed on the referee. But I knew George Foreman would knock out Joe Frazier. Yeah. Anybody that bends to George, goodbye, Jack. He flattens him.
Well, as Bert points out, Ali gets the win over Ken Norton, a close win in the rematch. And it turns out the game has not passed him by. Muhammad Ali would get his shot at George Foreman and the heavyweight title once again. The Rumble in the Jungle when we come back.
I did hurt this guy a lot. I hurt him more than a lot. But I've never faced anyone with that kind of bravery before. This man was probably the most brave person I've ever gotten in the ring with. He was brave.
This is going to be a good fight. I want to say that plan to make this my last fight, and I'm going to shock the whole world. I think it's befitting that I go out of boxing like I came in 10 years from the day I beat Sonny Liston, destroying another Sonny Liston who idolized Sonny Liston. He jumps ropes like Sonny Liston. He walks around with a stare, sad face like Sonny Liston. He's awkward and slow, and he hits hard like Sonny Liston. And I think it's befitting that 1974 stage couldn't be set no better, that I retire this man just like I did Liston.
This man has been talking since he started boxing. People have broke his jaw, knocked him out. One guy knocked his leg so far up in the air, I thought he was going to take off. And he got up and started talking. So there's no way I'm going to be able to stop him from talking.
You see, you have to go back in time and think of how frightening George Foreman was.
I was thinking how frightening Don King's hair was.
You think 40-0. I mean, Al, let's talk about 40-0. He bounces Joe Frazier around, the same Joe Frazier that has beaten Muhammad Ali. At this point, we're thinking this guy could be the greatest heavyweight champion we've ever seen.
And was knocking everybody out in 1 or 2 rounds, the Nortons and all the rest of the people.
You didn't mention Joe King Roman.
There you go. That's right. Let's not forget Joe King Roman. He was, as you point out, and I think Ali's comparison to Liston is a very apt one, because we looked at this guy and said, and people going into this fight said, now, how exactly is Muhammad Ali supposed to beat this guy? The same way they felt going into the Liston fight.
Well, also between Liston and Foreman, I never heard the word invincible used more.
Right.
They both were, quote unquote, invincible.
Until Mike Tyson, and then it would be brought up again. Angelo, your thoughts on George Foreman going into this fight?
George Foreman, I did a lot of homework on. Guys that moved gave him problems. He fought a guy by the name of
Gregorio Peralta.
Yes.
And I was there. I saw the fight. And he had problems because the guy gave him bullshit. So I'm figuring, geez, the motion Muhammad gives him, he never saw that before. So I felt strong that he was going to beat the guy.
Let me ask you about a rumor before the fight that Angelo Dundee, quote unquote, loosened the ropes in the ring.
It's not true, because I went and checked the ropes with Bobby Goodman the day of the fight, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The fight's 4 o'clock at night. So I went and checked you want to laugh, there wouldn't have been no fight. The ring was like this.
Slanted?
Well, the dirt, they didn't put chucks under the ring. So we had to get the ring straightened out. They had sent 24-foot ropes for a 20-foot ring. So I had to try to cut 4. No, you know, there wasn't a knife in the arena. I swear to God. I asked, got a knife, I would have cut it. I used a 2-way double blade, I had to cut it.
What were you doing in the fight, running after a man who was trying to do what with the ropes? There was something the guy was trying to tighten him or loosen him, or what?
I sent a guy in from our corner, Pat Patterson, the poor guy. He didn't know how to tighten the turnbuckle. He turned them the wrong way. They got looser.
So what?
And you were probably really distressed that they got looser, huh?
No, but Ali would have fallen into our laps.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes, that's what I was afraid
When he was
of.
leaning back.
I was concerned Foreman would throw a shot, hit him with forearm on the chest, out of the ring, the fight's over.
We're going to ask you about the delay and what that did to Muhammad Ali, but let's first listen in to Ali himself, what he thought of the delay after Foreman is cut and the fight has to be postponed.
What it is, I'm dedicated, I'm concentrating, I'm training hard, and I'm going to dance the whole, if it goes 15, I'll dance every second of every minute. Completely shock him, surprise him. And I predicted after 8 good rounds, it'll be obvious that he's dead tired. He won't have no more after 8.
Angelo, how do you think that fight would have turned out had it just been fought at the initial date? Do you think it would have been any different at all?
Same way.
Yeah?
But it affected my guy the right way. He says, let's go train. That day when they postponed it, we went and trained at the gym. And oddly enough, I look at the crowd there, see 2 strange faces there. There was 2 paisans there. Hey, Gay, how are you? They were there teaching us how to build steel mills. And we went and had spaghetti that night. They had a village in the jungle. So I brought Muhammad, we had some spaghetti, and we met all the paisans.
When did it start happening that Muhammad started endearing himself to the people of Zaire? When did that start? When did that magic start?
Day 1.
Yeah.
Ali Ringside. Poor George Foreman came in, he screwed up. He brought a police dog with him.
He brought German Shepherds with him, and those were, right off the plane, 2 of them. Those were the dogs, or the breed, that the Belgians had used in the Belgian Congo, which had been Zaire before it became independent, to keep crowd control and to bite those out of control. You think George Foreman was going to be a favorite of the crowd after he shows up with 2 German Shepherds? No.
George was training across the way from us. We were 45 minutes away from Kinshasa. Now, George only could take it for 3 or 4 days because he was training in the same complex. So we were spying on him. I got one of Bingham's telescopic lens, made believe I was spying on the guy. We're having a party. So what happens? George went nuts. All that quiet and solitude, he went into the town. He went and trained in Kinshasa. So, but Muhammad loved it. He loved it because look, facing the Congo River, forgive me, Zaire River, because that's why they had the fight. They changed the name of the country.
Right.
So we had bungalows right facing the Zaire River. And he loved it because every day going to the gym was a happening. Man, we had something to do.
And with a lot of Ali Boumbayes.
Oh, yeah, man. They
Ali
loved
kill
it.
'em.
They loved it. Ali Ringside.
After the delay, the fight would happen. We're going to have the Rumble in the Jungle round 1 and take a break. We're back right after this.
This is Ringside, Muhammad Ali. On to Zaire for the Rumble in the Jungle. Here's how the fight unfolded October 30th, 1974.
The enthusiasm begins to mount here. One thing we want to look out for is just how fast this man, George Foreman, will open. As we mentioned, in his past several fights, he hasn't gone in the past 4 years beyond 2 rounds in any fight. Can Ali dance and stay away from him? Is George Foreman's thundering punches going to be too much for him? Is the left hook that is so devastating, the tremendous left hook, going to stop Ali? Here we go, Ali quickly across the round. Round 1, Ali bouncing around, shifting left for right. George moves slow, Ali gets the first punch in, a light right hand taken on the forehead by George Foreman, the champion. Foreman moving slow, trying to stalk his man. Ali looks like he's ready to go here. He's not staying away. He's going after his man. Foreman comes in. Foreman a bit cautious in the first round, looking to drop that left hook. Foreman stalks his man to the far corner. There's that left uppercut and jab to the body of Muhammad Ali. Ali tries to hang on to the head of George Foreman. Foreman dances now. Moves Ali with a right hand lead again. Has Foreman slightly confused with that right hand lead, which I haven't seen too many times before. Ali certainly dancing, slipping punches, sliding around both ways. Foreman's idea is to back him off into the corner, and when they get tight, to wail away with that vicious hook to the body of Muhammad Ali. Ali lashes out with a light left. A straight right hand. Forehead of George Foreman. George Foreman again takes a light left inside as he tries to work to the body of Muhammad Ali. That's Ali on your right. Foreman on the left. A wild left hand thrown by George Foreman, taken on the side of the head of Ali. The pace is tremendous in round 1. George Foreman with his face for you. Ali to the left. Ali tries to tie him up. He's leaning on Foreman. Foreman with a vicious uppercut, misses. Ticketed to the head of Ali. Ali stands back, ties his man up, leans on the rope, tells him, whispers in his ear, taunting him. So far, Ali looks pretty impressive in round 1. This Foreman throws a light glancing blow, ticketed to the head of Ali, but goes over the shoulder of Muhammad Ali. Ali shifts right, bounces left, takes the light left on the side of the head. Wild left hand thrown on the side of the head of Muhammad Ali. Look at the referee, Zach Clayton, having his problems. 1 minute left in round number 1. The heavyweight championship between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, live via satellite, direct from Zaire, Africa. That punch did no damage. That one did. 2 wild right hands taken on the side of the head of Muhammad Ali. Ali continues to try to tie his man up. Zach Clayton separates him. Wild left hand, vicious hook. There's a real strong right hand just underneath the heart. And Muhammad Ali is taking some punishment now. About 25 seconds left in the round. Ali feints left, throws the straight right hand. That right hand lead has George Foreman slightly confused, but a straight left jab thrown by Foreman has Ali in the corner. Ali dances back, hangs on. What a tremendous, tremendous pace in round number 1. The hook to the body of Muhammad Ali. Zach Clayton, the referee, separates him. About 8 seconds left in the round. Round 1, Foreman and Ali, ending round 1.
More of the Rumble in the Jungle coming up with guest commentary from Ali's longtime trainer, Angelo Dundee. For program information, log on to ESPN.com. Keyword Ringside.